Hello and welcome to the class. My name is Daniel, and today we're going to be looking at paraphrasing in the IELTS reading. If you have a question after the class, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. This is the second of two classes and will last just over 20 minutes. First, we're going to look at true, false, and not given questions and have some practice with those. And then we're going to turn our attention to yes, no, and not given questions. So by the end of this class, you should be more familiar with how to answer those two question types. During the class, there'll be questions for you to answer. These will appear below the video. I'll tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for each one. So let's have a look at how to answer true, false, not given questions. The first step is underlining keywords. So let's take this question here. So it says, before drones, if you were making a movie, you could only shoot images from the sky using helicopters, planes, and cranes. Now we need to first highlight the keywords in this to check what we're looking for. So what are keywords exactly? Well, the first thing is nouns and noun phrases to look for. So in this sentence, we have here drones, a movie is a noun, shoot images from the sky using helicopters, planes, and cranes. So those are all the nouns in there. So those would be some keywords. Also, other types of keywords are verbs and verb phrases. For example, making a movie is a verb phrase, and shoot images and use helicopters. So those would be the verbs in there. So you'd want to highlight them as well. As well as that, you could highlight adjectives. Now in here, there are actually no adjectives in this one, but in other questions, you would want to highlight the adjectives. And finally, we'd look at adverbs and adverb phrases. For example, before is an adverb, only, and from the sky is also an adverb phrase that we'd use there. So those are the things we mean by keywords. Now, usually in a question, you wouldn't do it one by one by one. You would just go, okay, one, before drones, if you were making a movie, you could only shoot images from the sky using helicopters, planes, and cranes. So you would just move across like that. Now let's take a look at what we mean when we say what is true, what is false, and what is not given in the IELTS test. Well, a true sentence will paraphrase exactly the same information as the text. So it will have all of the information from the question will be contained in the text. If it's all in there, that means it's true. A false sentence will give opposite information to the text. So it will use paraphrasing, but it will have the opposite meaning to what's in the question. So you can say, okay, that's false. And then a not given sentence will give some of the same information in the text, but also some extra information which is not in the text. So with these sentences, it's impossible to say if it's true or not, as there's not enough information in the text to do this. And these questions also paraphrase the language in the text. So when you look at it and you look at the text, you're like, maybe, but I don't know. And it's impossible to say if it's a true or if it's a false in that situation. So that would be not given. Now let's look at how to answer one of these true, false, not given questions. So we have our underlined sentence here where we've chosen the keywords like we saw in the previous slides. And what we now need to do is look at the text here. This is the part of text we're going to look at and see if it is paraphrased. If it's all paraphrased, in which case it would be true. If it has a contradictory meaning, in which case it would be false, or if there's some extra information in there, in which case it would be not given. So let's start with before drones, because we can see that that is directly in here. We can also look at making a movie. That would be used in the film industry. Those are synonyms there. Okay, so it contains that bit. And we've got only using. And here we've just got two options. So that suggests there were only these two options. And then we have here shoot images from the sky. And again, we can see here we've got capturing aerial shots. And then we can look at helicopters, planes, and cranes. And here we've got cranes and manned aircraft. So we can see that all of this information is contained in the text. So this would be true. So as we see here, all the information is the same in the text. There's nothing that gives the opposite meaning. So this question is true. And that is how you would answer it. First, you'd highlight the keywords, then you'd look in the text and see if all of that information is contained in there. So let's have a little bit of practice then. Well, here is a new true, false, not given sentence. And the first step we need to do is to highlight the keywords. So we've got here the BBC were able to film images of the Costa Rican jungle from altitudes that had never been achieved before by using specialized drones. So those would be the key words there. And what we need to check it against is this part of the text. So what I would like you to do is look at question 1 below the video and see if you can choose if that's true, false, or not given. And I'm going to give you 10 to 15 seconds to try that. Okay, let's check this together then. Well, we're going to go through from the start. So we've got the BBC here. Okay, so it says for the TV series Planet Earth 2, the BBC. Okay, perfect. We've got that in there. Then we've got film images. So use specially adapted drones to capture is the same as film images. Okay, good. Of the Costa Rican jungle. Okay, capture the Costa Rican jungle. So that's the same here. From altitudes, okay, we've got heights and altitudes is the same meaning, that had never been achieved before. And previously unreachable means never been achieved before. And then here we've got using specialized drones and used specially adapted drones. So those two have the same meaning. So we can see that everything in the question has been paraphrased in the text. So hopefully you chose the answer that this is true, because everything is paraphrased. Let's look at another example. So we're going to highlight the keywords here again at this one. So it says, following in the footsteps of other programs, Planet Earth 2 used drone technology to film the jungle in Costa Rica from such high altitudes. So again, we've highlighted the keywords first, and here is the text. And what I'd like you to do now is look at question 2 below the video and see if you can choose true, false, or not given for this one. Okay, well, if we read this, we can see here it says, for the TV series Planet Earth 2, so we've got Planet Earth 2 here. The BBC used specially adapted drones, so use drone technology to capture, again, we've got film, so that's fine. The Costa Rican jungle, the jungle in Costa Rica, the Costa Rican jungle, from previously unreachable heights. such high altitudes. Now, this bit here, following in the footsteps, that means that they copied another program. So following in the footsteps of other programs, they copied another program. Now here, this says it was previously unreachable. So if it was previously unreachable, that means no one had done it before. So copying another program and no one had done it before, they have completely opposite meanings. They are contradictory. So is it true, false, or not given? Well, because they're contradictory, they have opposite meanings. It must be false. So that one is false because of that part. Let's look at one more. So here we have Planet Earth 2 reached new heights by being the first program to film in the Costa Rican jungle using drones. So let's highlight the keywords. So Planet Earth 2 reached new heights by being the first program to film in the Costa Rican jungle using drones. So we've highlighted our keywords. And now here's the part of the text again. What I'd like you to do is look at question 3 below the video and see if you can say if it's true, false, or not given. And again, I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, well, let's go through it again. We got Planet Earth 2, and we can see here we've got Planet Earth 2 in here. It says there were reached new heights and previously unreachable heights. Could be the same meaning. But actually, if we look at this, they have two different contexts. So reach new heights meant achieved something new. And heights here is metaphorical, as previously unreachable heights means that they filmed from very, very high up in the sky. So they have slightly different meanings. By being the first program to film in the Costa Rican jungle using drones, well, we can see they captured the Costa Rican jungle and they used drones. But were they the first program to do it? Were they the first program to use drones? Well, we don't know. There's not enough information here. They were the first program to use drones from this height, but we don't know if they were the first program to use drones in the Costa Rican jungle. So, because we don't know, is it true, false, or not given? It's not given. There's not enough information for us to say yes, true, false. So it's not given. So let's now look at the difference between true, false, and not given questions, and another type of question, which is yes, no, and not given questions. They both appear in the IELTS reading. So let's look at what's the same about both of them. Well, in both of them, they require you to find paraphrase sentences and check their meaning. That's what we've just been doing on the previous slide. So highlighting the keywords and checking the meaning of them in the text. You have to do that for both of them. Now, the difference between true, false, and not given. Well, true, false, and not given are based on checking facts and seeing if they agree or disagree with the information in the text. Yes, no, and not given is based on checking opinions or beliefs of a writer of the text and other people in the text and seeing if they agree with the text. So one is about facts, and yes, no, not given is about opinions and beliefs and comparing those. Now, in the yes, no, not given, the sentences that you have to check have more language expressing opinion. So verbs like believe, think, feel, say, expect, guess, these kinds of verbs. Whereas in true, false, and not given, it will just be stating a fact like this is this or there are this. So things that are just either true or false. So that's kind of the main difference. Also, the IELTS reading that usually you get yes, no, not given questions is usually the reading 3, because that's often written from someone's perspective or from someone's point of view. So let's have a look at an example question. Well, here we've got the question and the part of the text that we're going to look at. So again, this procedure is the same as with true, false, and not given questions. So we still need to highlight the keywords. So let's look at this together. It says the writer, and we can see it says believes. So there's one of those opinion verbs, that a large number of the scientific theories at that time were not very realistic. And what I'd like you to do is to look at question 4 below the video and see if you can choose if you think that is yes, no, or not given. I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds to try that. Okay, let's look together. So this is written from the writer's perspective. So the writer believes this is their opinion here. So we have to see that a large number of scientific theories at the time were not very realistic. So it says the scientific realm, okay, the scientific theories, from anthropology to zoology was full of, okay, so a large number of, that's the same, theoretical concepts or theories. So you can see it's used a word family here to paraphrase. It's changed theory to theoretical concepts. At the time were not very realistic. Again, we've got a large number of here and many of. And then not very realistic. Here we've got the adjective fanciful. And fanciful and not realistic have the same meaning. So we can see that all the parts of this sentence are paraphrased in the text. So is it yes, no, or not given? It's a yes, because all of it is paraphrased. So it's exactly the same process as with the true, false, not given. The only difference is that it's about the writer's opinions or people's opinions. Now, if you have any questions, remember you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. Now remember to complete the online training and do the practice activities. Thank you very much for joining the class. We'll see you again. Goodbye.